Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I have got an awesome best of 5 game. This is game 1 of this series and it is between SlayerSCella, who is the red Protoss player, get the right way around here, the red Protoss player in the lower left, and mTwDIMAGA, who is the blue Zerg. Neither of these players should need any introduction. This is of course a best of 5 from the Gigabyte Nvidia Invitational, and it should be super good. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm really excited. And obviously it's a PvZ, so what does that have in store? Well, we will almost certainly see a fast expansion out of Sella. The pylon will come down here, then we'll either see a Nexus first or Forge first, are the two main variants, and from Demaga we'll see a 14 or 15 pull into a very quick hatch and into a 4 to 5 minute third. That is the kind of go-to metagame at the moment. Obviously there's other things Demaga can do. I mean, there's lots of really neat strategies you can do as a Zerg player against this. I mean, one of the most unusual is you get lair of one base, nothing but a spawning pool and lair. You then literally wander down here, you plant an overlord, you generate creep, build spine crawlers, and just troll your way through the wall. But of course, if you see it coming, which you will because there'll be no expansion, it can be quite easy to hold as long as you do the right thing. So, what can we expect kind of going into the series? Well, obviously game 1 is critical. The winner of game 1 has such a psychological advantage going forward. And obviously being a best of 5, game 2 is always really important as well, because once you get into that kind of match point, you start getting that psychological issue of, well, I've only got to win one more game and I win the series. So, so far, it's looking like we're going to see Sella go for that Forge before Nexus, which is pretty much the safer option, really. That's the only reason you go for that. It also gives you the opportunity, if you so wish, to cannon a third, although this third base not so easy to cannon, although it can be done if you put a pylon down here and build like cannons around it. It can be a little bit awkward, but I mean, I doubt we'll see that. It's quite a big investment and it's something Demaga will probably scout for to deny. But Sella now just dropping down the Nexus, and we will have Demaga at 16 supply just come down here and start building his first hatchery, although that probe is going to be very annoying, and we'll try and delay it as long as it possibly can, because of course the longer it is delayed, the better it is for Sella. He wants to stay ahead in terms of economy. By denying the hatchery for just a couple of seconds, it means obviously a little while longer you'll have a base when they don't, and also it'll be a little bit longer there at half the production capability. Now, we should see these 4 Zerglings just kind of come and check round at the third base, which I always suggest Zerg players do, just to be sure, because if you don't find this probe you can get cannoned, although Demaga may only just send the drone to go and check, thinking he's probably going to be safe. Goes to the watchtower straight away, finds the probe, and should now be happy. This Overlord will probably move back up into this position once the cannon finishes, just to be safe. But the third base up already for Demaga, and that started about exactly 4 minutes. So that is really pretty early in terms of getting that third base down, and will mean Demaga will be in a great spot going forward into kind of mid-game. But it does mean he's slightly vulnerable early on, because he has gone for about 20 seconds sooner in terms of that base, that any kind of really quick pushes will basically Demaga his focus on economy as opposed to staying alive. And that is generally the best way to think about it, is every time you focus on economy, you're less safe now but are going to be safer later on. Every time you focus on army or tech, you're gonna be safer now but a lot weaker later on, and tech is again something to consider and when it comes in and out. But we will wait and see how this all plays through. Demaga of course droning up quite nicely, and if we take a look, Sella is ahead in terms of the probe count momentarily, although that will very quickly become Demaga's favour once this third base comes out. But chrono boosting probes on 2 before the queens are out and injecting nicely means that Protoss players are able to get the early economic lead, and we do have Sella here getting down that Stargate. This is a really quite an early Stargate, and one Demaga is not going to be in a good position to deal with at the moment, although hopefully we should see the Roach one go down and at the same time that Evo chamber, because that is kind of the optimum way to open up. You go Roach and Evo at the same time, so that if there's a big gateway push, you've got the Roaches ready to deal with it, and you've got the Evo chamber, 1 for the upgrades, which of course are very important, but 2 for the detection against DTs, and 3 for any airplay. So that will hopefully be what Demaga does, which will mean he'll be pretty safe. And if we look at the worker count now, they have leveled up, and of course now this third base is out, This is the point where Demaga will start pulling ahead in terms of the workers, but the Void Ray is the unit of the sky for Sella here, which is a bit more unusual. We tend to see Phoenix get a lot more used early on because of just how effective they are against drones and queens. You can just lift them, but of course Void Ray is a very good choice as well, although that Void Ray is going to be shown very, very early actually, and used to pick off that Overlord, and that is kind of twos and throws to both that. We've got the Robo facilities coming out behind this, so this is absolutely, well, only the one gateway, and of course Warp Gate Tech only half done. We've got the double Evo chamber coming out here from Demaga, so that's going to allow him to get the spores in order to defend this, but it also means that he's going to be in a good position in order to get those double upgrades going into the mid-game. So everything you can see here in Demaga's play is focused on just surviving until the mid-game. So we do have the Void Ray being followed up by a Phoenix. That's a good choice because basically then you've got the damage of output of the Void Ray, but you've also got the Phoenix there to lift up the queens and prevent the attack, but the Spore Crawlers are coming down. Only one of the natural and one of the third. The reason for this is that basically they're probably the main attack points, otherwise you've got to try and run the Void Ray in, and while you can skirt it across the top there, it's less than ideal because queens can come and set up here and pick it off, and it can just be awkward. So as long as you defend those two positions, you should be okay. But yeah, this is just the early game so far. The Void Ray is poking around, and somewhere there should be a Phoenix out, although exactly where, I'm not quite sure. But I'm sure there's a Phoenix on the field. There's two. And I must just be being blind right now because I cannot for the life of me see any Phoenix around on the minimap. So somewhere there are, but we will wait and see. Hopefully they'll come in. We've got the Observer moving across. There they are. The Phoenix are still sitting in the base, not being proactive in any way, but probably don't want to reveal that they're there so far. Just give the Void Ray the option. Hopefully then that way there won't be too much anti-air. Robotics Bay following this up, which of course means the Colossi will be on the way, but an awful lot of Zerglings coming in here for Demaga. He does have speed finished, checking for the third base of Sella, and Sella is, well, just happy in harassing. These four Phoenix are going to make short work of queens. The drones will get taken out as well, and of course this is just a nice position here. We could see an awful lot of overlords get taken out if they're not exceptionally careful. Also great pickups here by Sella of all the drones. The Zerglings aren't doing anything down by the third of Sella, so Demaga really needs to work out what he's going to do, because he needs to do as much damage as possible. It's so many queens out. I mean, there are 8 queens on the field right now. That is just showing how good the anti-air defense queens can provide it ultimately, and it also means that the creep spread should be going a bit crazy for Demaga, although we're not seeing that yet, which is a bit of a shame. We do have the macro hatch on the way, as well as drop tech coming out, so we could see some Baneling Rain, we could just see roach drops, or who knows, but so far we have the Phoenix coming in. They're going to try and get a couple more drones just to be on the safe side. The single Void Ray is kind of poking around, picking off all of the creep tumors with the detection from that Observer, obviously. And if we look at the workers killed, only 7, and that basically just means that they are a bit closer than Demaga would probably like, but for the moment he's still ahead. He wants to hit that kind of 70 drone count. That would be absolutely perfect. And one Phoenix will go down. The rest taking quite a bit of damage, some lifts coming down, a couple more drones getting taken. This is exactly where this Phoenix harass becomes very, very potent very, very quickly. Meanwhile, we've got a big group of Zerglings just here, checking for when the third base comes down. We'll probably see Demaga move all of those Zerglings up to try and take this out, but there is the Colossus there, of course, as well as the 3 sentries. Should help deal with that pretty nicely. That Void Ray still poking around. The Phoenix, very, very good in terms of their scouting. Demaga is getting up a Spire, just started now as well as those 2-2 upgrades. So there's going to be 2-2 upgrades against what is not even 1-1 yet. So those Zerglings are getting taken out pretty well. Not any sign of force fields though, only now just going down, and that was a bit of a bad engagement there for Sella. And if we take a look at the resource, actually he didn't come out too badly there, but this third base could very, very quickly get denied, and there is the cancel, so Demaga will deny that third base for just a little while longer, and of course that is a very, very nice position to be in. The Ventral Sax upgrade is about to finish, the Overlord speed on its way as well now, but no sign of a Baneling nest, so Baneling drops, literally as I say that, he gets it, which is always very, very fun. We've got Sella getting up that Twilight Council, which will allow the 2-2 upgrades, and also Blink to be researched. The Spire nearly finished, so we could see a very, very harassing build come out here, and of course Baneling drops are very, very effective. These Phoenix are still being incredibly annoying though. The Spore Crawlers are allowing Demaga to hold this off relatively easily though. But they can just keep poking around, and if an Overlord strays out of position like there, they can get taken down. But of course, the Overlord speed has now been revealed, and a Transfuse even going down on an Overlord there, which is something you don't see very often at all. And the Queens are all around here, and they're just going to be doing damage, denying these Phoenix from doing too much at all. The Baneling Nest will get spotted though, and obviously it doesn't take a genius to put the positions together and realise what's going to be happening. 13 Corruptors are on their way out though. That is an awful lot of anti-airs, so that is purely going to be there ready to try and deal with the Colossi, which of course DIMAGA is now fully aware are out. And of course the Phoenix, they're going to be irritating still, but until this third base is really out, SlayerSCella is in a bit of an awkward spot because a 3-base Protoss can do pretty much whatever they want to. However, a 2-base Protoss has to be a little bit careful, and DIMAGA getting up his 4th base behind this, trying to stay a base up, but I mean, he's got to do something big soon, and of course he is morphing in a couple of Banelings, but not as many as we might like to see, but that's because he's mineral starved. If we look at the worker count, he's only 4 workers ahead, which is definitely not where he wants to be. And I mean, now the Banelings are getting loaded up, we'll probably see more in production, but so many Corruptors right now, they're going to literally melt those Colossi. I mean, there are 15 Corruptors on the field. That is absolutely insane for DIMAGA. He does only have about a 20, well now 30 supply lead, but obviously that isn't as significant as he would like. The Baneling speed upgrade coming down. There's 12, 13 more Banelings, which is getting more up to the number we would probably expect to see out of him there. And of course this force is just really quite substantial already. And I mean, the only thing I'm surprised is, as far as I'm aware, there isn't any kind of infestation pit down. So no hive tech will be coming out for quite a while, which means those Corruptors really are going to do nothing except deal with the Colossi. And ultimately, if you're sitting there with what is 15 Corruptors and you do take out those Colossus quickly, then obviously you're then left with a lot of units which can't do anything to help you, other than take out the Phoenix obviously, but that probably won't be too helpful ultimately, as there's only 4 on the field. The Voidway is still somewhere, just like chilling by the watchtower. Who knows what's going on there, but DIMAGA is now maxed out. He is happy at the 2-2 upgrades, but he's trying to get the Baneling speed out before he goes for this most probably, and I'm really interested to see how DIMAGA goes for this. Is he just going to go for flat out Bane Rain on everything, or is he going to try and go for some Baneling drops into mineral lines? But here comes out the infestation pit. We do have those 4 Zealot drop there and waiting, although if it does get spotted, obviously those Corruptors can instantly kill. Probably 1 volley would kill off that War Prism, although this is just great timing. The Zerglings are on their way in to try and pick off this attempt at a 4th base, but we do have the Phoenix and the double Zealot drop coming in from every angle available, and to be honest, this is going to be really, really irritating. We do see a lot more Banelings getting morphed in, 33 Banelings coming down, but here are all of those Zealots. They are getting in a massive warping going down here of a stupid amount of Zealot Sentry. They're just going to be able to force field off that ramp, deny reinforcements, and the entire main base of DIMAGA could now get completely demolished as long as those force fields do keep coming, although the timing's going to have to be perfect because it'll only take a couple of units to get in just like that, and it can really ruin SlayerSCella's day. All of those sentries go down now. Baneling drops are going down on the Zealots. This is incredibly good play by DIMAGA in terms of clearing this up, and SlayerSCella is just not doing enough damage in my opinion to really warrant what he's invested there. I mean, if we look at the worker count, he only killed a handful, 14 workers. All of these Phoenix are now getting taken down. That War Prism could go down pretty quickly as well if the Corruptors are able to chase them down, but those sentries getting taken out very, very quickly. Although the force fields are denying a lot of mining time. That is a really interesting use of force fields there. But DIMAGA, he's still maxed out. He's got Hive on the way as well as a second Spire. But down at SlayerSCella's page, he's got that Mothership coming out. He's got Charge. He's got the +2 armor, as well as obviously a quite sizable army and a very well defended 4th base. He's got cannons everywhere. He's going to be in a good spot. But here we go. We're going to have a really big engagement here. Those Corruptors are absolutely destroying the Colossi, allowing those Banelings and Zerglings to do as much as possible. And well, the Stalkers are trying to pick off these Baneling Rain Overlords, but it's just not going at all well. Basically all the Corruptors are now down, but DIMAGA, he hasn't managed to deal all the damage that he probably would have wanted to. And as a result, we will see SlayerSCella just move forward, and he's picking off an awful lot of Corruptors. Of course, Hive Tech is done, but the Greatest Spire isn't, so we're not going to see Broodlords. And suddenly, DIMAGA went for a big push, and his counterattack could outright kill him. A massive warping of Stalkers has gone down. The Mothership not even finished yet, and while there are a lot of Zerglings coming in, the Archon is helping tremendously in dealing with those. Blink, of course, very, very effective as well. And there's the GG from Dimaga, and game 1 goes to SlayerSCella. So that was a really, really close game, but Dimaga just couldn't do enough damage. If you did enjoy, please give the video a thumbs up. Please follow me, subscribe to my YouTube, new games up daily. But most importantly, flick over to my channel and find game 2, and I'll see you there in a second. Bye for now.